So I'm taking the 25 and 4 tag and I'm folding it in half, and I'm going to take the raw edges and pop them into that opening where I had the 5 basting stitches. It's a little hard to watch me insert that, but it's easy. And I'm gonna pin it in place. If I can get a pin out of here. Okay. And then I'm going to go around here to where my opening was for turning. And I'll just fold under the flannel and the cotton. Make it smooth, and I'm gonna put a pin in there. Now, once you become more experienced at sewing, you may not need to pin, but it will help to get a nice smooth curve on the bottom of the shirt, and it'll help to prevent any puckering at the end of the opening. So we're going to start sewing right above this tab. And I'm going to put my presser foot, the right toe of my presser foot, right against the edge of the shirt. And I'm going to constantly follow the edge of the shirt with my presser foot. So at this point, I think I can take my tab, my pin out for the tag, and let's see how this goes. What I use to make sure that my seam is pulled all the way out to the edge is this little thread pick. And I just insert it right at the seam line, and I turn it a quarter turn and pull towards me, and that helps me to know that the seam is all the way down to the edge of the shirt. If you don't do that, you don't make sure that the seam is pulled down, the shirt's going to be too small, because half of it is going to be tucked up between the fabric. So I just give it a little tug, and I may take the back side of my tool and just run it along the fold so that I get a nice crisp turn. When I get up to my pin, oops, I will take that out. Pop that out now. I do want these to be kind of right on top of one another, so I'll make a little bit of an adjustment there. I'm going to pull this. Going to pull this, pull that. I do like to give my corners a little tug because I think it helps to keep them nice and round. So I'll tug on that. So now I've just sewn around the first front corner of the shirt, and this is that dot that I left for my Velcro. So I'm going to sew about 5 stitches past the dot. So now I'm level with the dot, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to grab a piece of 2-inch Velcro, and I'm going to take the prickly part of the Velcro, and I'm going to turn the shirt and put the middle of my Velcro over that dot. So here's the dot, Middle of the Velcro goes over it. And put the presser foot down. I'm going to switch to zigzag, and I'm going to make my stitch width about 1 1/4 and my stitch length about 2. What I want is for the needle to swing to the left and just go to the edge of where the prickles start, and then I want it to swing to the right and go into the fabric. So let's see if I did that. I think we did. Okay, so that looks like a pretty good setting. Now I'm going to try to stop with the needle down to the right at the end of the Velcro, which I did. So I will now lift my presser foot, turn the shirt, and zigzag again. And I'm going over the edge of the Velcro with the zigzag, and I stop to the right. Turn again. Zigzag down. I'll go slow here. One more stitch. Okay. Now I'm going to turn. I want to make sure that I capture this corner under thread. I've already caught it once, so there we go. Now I'm back to the point where I started. So I'm going to switch to straight stitch. I'm going to take my tool and pull my seam. Here's the spot for my next Velcro strip. So I could take another 2-inch Velcro and get that ready to roll. Put it so it's centered over the dot. So let's see if I can do that. There's the dot, here's the Velcro. I don't pin it, you could, but I don't. I'm going to try to make it parallel with this other piece. So I'm going to straight stitch right up here. It may catch the Velcro, I'm fine with that. Now I'm going to hit zigzag, pivot my shirt, and zigzag down. As I get to the end of the strip, I'll slow down, stop to the right, turn the shirt, put the presser foot down, zigzag across the strip, stop on the right, pivot, with the needle down, presser foot down, go all the way down the long side, stop to the right, pivot, finish off. When you get to where you started, switch back to straight stitch. Now you can see how tucked under the seam is here. So I'm going to put my tool in and I'm going to pull that out because I need the edge to be all the way to the seam to be all the way to the edge of the shirt. So I'm back on straight stitch, and now I'm back to doing my top stitching. Just regular old top stitching. But I do have to put another Velcro strip on this shoulder because I have a dot there, right there. So watch me pull this shoulder strap out. Whoa, look at that. Get that nice and rounded. If you have trouble with your shoulder tabs looking pointy and not rounded, you need this tool. I go about 2/3 to 3/4 of the way around the front shoulder tab and I pivot 90 degrees. Then I grab a Velcro that's 1 inch and I put it right next to the needle. I put the presser foot down. Oops, sorry, you can't see that because of my hand. And now I'm ready to zigzag. So here I go. Stop on the right. Needle down, presser foot up, turn, presser foot down, zigzag. stop on the right, press her foot up, needle down, press her foot down, zigzag. The advantage of doing the zigzag stitch on the prickly Velcro is we don't have to trim the corners of the Velcro anymore, and they're beautifully secured under the zigzag, especially if you stop on the right side. Now, because we clip the curves, this all falls into place beautifully. So I've gone back to straight stitch, and I'm just going to go around the armpit. I do recommend that every time you make an adjustment of your hands to get this curved top stitch, you do it when the needle is down. Otherwise, you're going to have a very erratic looking top stitch. So when the needle stops down, then you move your hands. This is a classic spot for the seam to be tucked in. So I'm just going to grab it and make sure that it's pulled all the way to the edge. And I'm just going to top stitch all the way around. Give that a little tug to make sure it's pulled out. Here's another spot where it's typically not to the edge, so I pull it. And you'll see by pulling it with this tool, I get a beautiful round shoulder tab. Comes out perfect every time. Now I'm going around the neck, which again lays beautifully. I will stop with the needle down and adjust. Stop with the needle down and adjust. This has to get pulled out here, here, here. Just a quick little tug to make sure that the seam is all the way to the edge of the shirt. Give a tug, give a tug. Looks pretty good. This side looks pretty good too. But we're always checking because we want the shirt to be able to fit the baby properly. Every shirt you make, if it's a size D, it should lie on top of the previous one you made, and they should all be exactly the same size. Okay, now it's time to check. I'm going to check. I've done 2 shoulder tabs, which were the back shoulders. Now I have a dot on this shoulder tab, so it's time for another prickly Velcro. So I go around. I like to go 2/3 to 3/4 of the way around. I stop with my needle down. I turn 90 degrees. I grab a 1-inch Velcro. I take the prickly part, put it right next to my needle, right there. Put the presser foot down, switch to zigzag, and go. Stop with your needle down to the right. Pivot, zigzag across, needle down to the right. Pivot, zigzag to the right. Zigzag across. Now I'm ready to top stitch again. So this looks pretty good. I'm going to just turn. As I approach the tag, this is typically way tucked in. So watch how I will need to pull that out so I can get that nice little curve at the front of the shirt. So it really looks like a vest. Now I can top stitch to where I started, and I just overlap by maybe 4 stitches, and I remove the shirt from the machine. Cut the thread. Now we're up to stage 3, which is just to put on the soft Velcro. So we take our template and now we lay it down on the flannel, and we mark the green spots. So the tag, which was pink, is now by our tag, and I'm just going to put 2 dots for my Velcro there, and then I have a green dot on this shoulder tab and a green dot on this shoulder tab. The other side of my Velcro I've left right by my sewing machine, and so I have the pieces that match the prickly ones, and I'm just going to center my Velcro on that dot, and I put it right up against my top stitching. My machine is on a straight stitch. I do my soft Velcro in a straight stitch because I like it. I think it looks more professional than the zigzag. It's not as noticeable, and I don't have to worry about sharp corners on the edge of the soft Velcro. I only worried about it on the prickly. This is my preference. It's not everyone's preference. If you feel more comfortable doing a very neat zigzag on your soft Velcro, that is acceptable. But I can tell you, it looks good only if your bobbin thread matches the front of the shirt. When it's contrasting, it's not such a great look. Now I'm going to take my shirt and slide it over. I have not cut any threads. And I'm going to take the other half of the prickly Velcro, that's a 2-inch waistline Velcro, and I'm going to slide it in there and just begin stitching it. So I haven't cut any threads. That helps to keep having little nests from forming when we start and stop our stitching. I do cut this now, but I did not cut it because before I started to sew the tab, because I didn't want a start-stop stitch there. I just want it to be smooth, and I'll show you how that looks after I get done. You'll notice that I am doing one diagonal across the soft Velcro, and at the very end I do about 3 stitches back. Without cutting the thread now, I'm moving to the next shoulder tab with the dot. That's right here. I put my 1-inch soft Velcro there, and I'm just gonna sew a rectangle around it. Now let's get this guy out of here. He's stuck. Okay. So I turn, sew across the Velcro. The length of the Velcro to where I started to stitch, across once diagonally, back stitch 3 times, grab my last piece. Without cutting the thread, I can go to the last piece of Velcro, go around in a rectangle, securing the whole thing. Always stop with your needle down, go across, back up, and back to where I started sewing. I do one diagonal across, back stitch 3 stitches, needle up, presser foot up, cut the thread. So now I'm going to take my scissor and cut all of these continuous threads as closely as I can. You don't want tails. So there's one here, I'll get rid of that. There's one here, I get rid of that. There's this. There's that. Okay, now we have connectors here. So all these have to be cut very tightly. There can't be any loops or miscellaneous threads that you leave behind. You really have to check, because otherwise, for example, if you left this could catch on a baby's finger or toe or on a piece of equipment, and it would be very dangerous. And it really is the job of the liaison or whoever gives the shirt to the baby to double check and make sure that's all been done properly. I got a little thread there that I don't like. I'm gonna take a smaller scissor and just get in there. I'm gonna trim this. The other place that I look for thread is where we sealed up the bottom opening. Let's see, yep. So see this little loop here? That is where we had stitching that stopped when we sewed the shirt together. There's a little loop right there that you may not be able to see on the camera, but I can see it. And I just pull them out and I take my scissor and I trim that. Here's another one. This is where we started stitching the shirt together. Just go in there with your scissor and trim it down. All right. The final step, once you get all this trimming done, can't seem to get that one. Okay. The final step is to put your shirt together the way the baby would wear it, because you need to make sure that you sewed your Velcro on right. So turn over one side. This Velcro is going to line up with the waist, and the prickly Velcro will secure with the soft Velcro. You have to check that, because occasionally people sew the soft Velcro on flipped over and it won't grab. So that's your finished shirt. The back looks like that. And of course we'll wash this and get all the threads off of it and press it and make it look really pretty, but it's ready to wear. Florida people take their zebra pin and put the size of the shirt on the back of the tab. This is an E, so I've marked it with my pen as a size E, and now it's ready to be laundered, and that will stay on and not bleed or run. So it's a zebra 402 pen, 7mm, black ink, and I guess that finishes the shirt. That's it.